Hello my loves, I'm Ellie Frost and this video is about feeling stupid, blaming ourselves, thinking we could have done it differently under the narcissistic abuse, narcissistic attack, whatever we want to call it, right? Being a victim, being a target, being victimized by a narcissist. And I think the biggest problem in this is that we don't know what we're dealing with, right? I was still intelligent and conscious when I got sucked in several times by narcissists. It wasn't about how clever you are. It's not about how conscious you are. It's probably that we have no chance until we know what we're dealing with, until you know it's a psychic attack. Now, a psychic attack is almost like a hypnosis. It's like being on drugs, right? You know, on some level it's not right, but the pull is so strong. There are heroin addicts that have said that narcissistic abuse withdrawal is stronger, is harder to kick than heroin. So we're not dealing with a logical thing like PTSD. You can't heal, you can't think your way out of trauma, and you can't think your way out of narcissistic abuse and understand it just rationally. It is a strong psychic attack. Often, the more powerful, the stronger the light worker, the more powerful, the stronger the demon they send, right? So it's got nothing to do with being stupid. It's got nothing to do with being unintelligent. It's got nothing to do with you would have known better later. The only way you would know better is if you would know what you were actually dealing with on a spiritual psychic level. Until that point, it's all confusion. You don't understand why you're falling in those traps. You don't understand. You know logically this doesn't make sense, but you can't stop yourself because you're under a psychic pull, which you can absolutely cut. And I'm absolutely going to help you do that. There's no reason for it to continue. But the first thing is you've got to be conscious of what it is. It's got nothing to... Are we more vulnerable to narcissistic abuse with childhood wounds? Sure, right? But not everyone who's had a tough childhood ends up with a narcissist. Many of them end up in happy homes. And they go to counselling and they learn. I've got many friends like that where their childhood was abusive. They didn't end up with a narcissist. They ended up with a loving partner. And they actually, they had some things they had to work through. And they went to therapy and they didn't bring their past into their future. That's what happens in a different context. In narcissistic abuse, you're under a spell, literally. That's why you've got to be very mindful of how you engage. It's like a spell. It is a spell. It's dark magic. Honestly, it is. I've had dark magic. I didn't even know much about that stuff until it was thrown at me, and I won't even go into the stories because it blew my mind. But there is an energetic realm, and you don't have to be scared of it. You just have to know it exists. And you just have to know that those feelings you have aren't always yours, and those pulls you have aren't because you're in love with someone, and you kind of know it, You can feel compelled to feel an attraction to someone that you're not attracted to because it's a narcissist under a psychic attack. Don't be scared of this. Once you know it, I'm going to teach you something. I'm going to do a new video on owning your energetic field. When I'm saying you've got to strengthen your energetic field, can I just be clear? Because I don't want to make it into this big thing that no one knows what I'm talking about, and you think that there's this magic pill that I'm going to just suddenly say, the energetic field is this. The energetic field is the combination of the multidimensional stuff I talk about. So the energetic field, a strong energetic field means I'm bringing into alignment, right, my thought energy, so my psychological and mental body, my emotional body, my physical body, and my electromagnetic field, my vibration. And the energetic field, which is your electromagnetic field, is a combination of all of them. So which is what I say, you can't think your way out of trauma. That's a physical thing. You can't manifest when there's trauma predominantly vibrating in your energetic field, right? Because even if you're consciously trying to manifest, if there's too much trauma there, you're going to be the dominant energy wins basically in your energetic field. So you've got thought energy, you've got physical energy, you've got emotional energy, you've got spiritual energy, and the combination makes up your energetic field, and the dominant energy wins. So if the dominant energy is trauma, you're going to attract more trauma. So what we want to do is bring it is start bringing alignment into all pieces, harmony, balance into all pieces, and then be intentional about what we want to create and our well-being and what we want to experience. We want to break the old patterns and create a new state of being. And that new state of being is going to influence our energetic field and make it strong. There are holes in the energetic field when we're kind of weak in areas. So like I would say, like for a narcissist, their trauma, well, it doesn't have to be trauma that causes it, but often I think it is. It collapses the energetic field, and their response to it is to make a choice spiritually to go to the dark side. Whereas with us, our energetic field collapses over trauma and we suffer all these symptoms, but we don't make that same choice. It is a choice. I want you to know that. It is a choice. You've made a choice spiritually not to go that way. You can't just be turned. You're in complete control. They made a choice spiritually. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. But when I keep talking about energetic field, I'm talking about alignment of the multidimensional aspects of you. It's not complicated. I don't want to put more, because what's hard in the healing industry is the jargon, is the terms, is this complexity. It's not so complicated. You are a being that is an electromagnetic field, which is like your whole, the totality, right? And that's made up of your mental state, your emotional state, your physical state, and your overall spiritual and energetic state, which does relate to your karma, your past, your lineage, your DNA, which is like your DNA includes past traumas carried down, your consciousness, the ideas and thoughts and beliefs that were carried down generationally. I don't want to make it complicated, because to solve what I'm doing with you, you don't need so much of the depth of information, right? I've learned what I've learned, and I do what I do because I've managed to take the complexity out of it. I can only know it because I've taken a mass amount of stuff and made it simple. I've holistically integrated it into simple ways, which is considering the whole, right? But when I say strengthen your energetic field, I mean bring into balance and alignment the whole of you. Not overcompensating in one area when it's definitely the wrong area to work on for what you're trying to heal. And even if, I saw one comment, right? Even if, so one lady said, look, I'm not triggered, my emotional body's okay, but I'm coming out in all these physical symptoms, and like, I thought I'd healed the trauma, but I'm not healed. Now, sometimes our bodies, if we haven't quite got the right alignment and our energetic field isn't strong, will actually manifest in different ways. So where it could have been PTSD, now you're breaking out in hives, right? You're still reacting but again, it's not complicated. It comes down to the simple things I'm talking about. We need to come back into our bodies. That's the first place, to regulate the nervous system, to build the capacity to process the emotions that are stuck in our body and unprocessed, and at the same time, take sovereignty over our energetic field so that no one can permeate it. When something's coming in, we're aware of it, and we are aware that we get to push out and say no consent on a psychic level, right? And actually see what's ours and what's not. It's coming into our own energy that really breaks that, right? We're in our own energy, we're in our own bubble, we're not so like reactive to circumstances. We're kind of like aware that in our own energy, we're very self-sourcing, very connected, very powerful. And we're looking to regulate and bring into balance the whole thing so that we can access our intuition and our spiritual gifts, right? And our manifestation skills. Once you've done that, that's what I say, the answer for me isn't just leave the narcissist, because if you do, you might have an emotional crash if you're not energetically strong. The answer to me is when you get energetically strong and in touch with your intuition and manifestation skills and the divine and everything you've got access to, then it's a natural progression that you are strong enough for. Right? And that's the point. Energetically strong means I'm strong enough, and I'm not fixating in the mind so much. I'm guided and I'm strong in my decisions, and I'm certain, and I know that I am an energetic match to what I want, and I'm doing it from a strong space, not a space where I'm going to be potentially re-traumatizing myself. So I don't want to make it complex, because it's not complex in terms of how you can start leading yourself through this. It is complex in terms of the amount of holistic intelligence that it takes to understand this, I guess, right? But that's not your worry so much as the need to understand why it affects you on all these levels. And it's the point of bringing all these levels into consciousness, into alignment, into balance, and then allowing your, like, giving yourself the best chance, which means that, like, when you regulate your body and your nervous system, it's automatic to process emotions, right? When you come into your intuition, it's easy to see the spiritual truth. It's that the narcissist so radically combusts you that you can't function in a way that would be healthy for you and productive for you, because now you're completely out of whack. So you can't feel your intuition, your body's reacting in crazy ways, you're not in a regulated nervous system, you're not strong enough half the time to make a definite move. And when we make a move, a brave move, a courageous move, right, we want to feel our connection to the divine, because we're going to need some help, right? We're going to need some conviction, and we're going to need some assistance from the spiritual world in order to manifest. We're going to want to see things for what they are and be able to process them and not be going back into old traps. What we don't want to do is leave and be in the same emotional state, because our body has been trained into a trauma response, and if the stimulus is there or not, we're now just going into it automatically no matter what. Like, we can't regulate. So we want to learn the skills we need, because these are the life skills we're going to need anyway, you know what I mean, to heal us, but also to navigate more strongly through life and be more powerful manifestors. And manifestor just means the creator of our own reality, and be able to energetically be a match to what we do want, be in touch and in tune with our hearts and our desires, and feel certain and strong and not living in fear. It's not actually, although most of us don't know this because we've probably grown up in it, or we may or may not have, I don't want to make that assumption, but it's not normal to live in fear. It's not normal to do that. It's not normal to not be able to dream and imagine the future. I'm not saying normal is the majority. I'm just saying it's not how we were built as human beings. We have this amazing capacity to self-heal. We have this amazing capacity. The body actually wants to heal. We've got a guidance system within us when we're connected and our channels are open to literally, like, tune into our desires and actually bring them about in our own life. But we're not really taught holistically to deal with who and what we are and how to utilize it to our highest potential, our highest intentions and outcomes, so that we easily, naturally just are in sync with ourselves. And what the narcissist does is literally combust your system. You can't function properly, you can't work properly, and that's why it's so hard to get out. But once you do come into alignment, then it's actually easier than you think, right? So we're taught to focus on our thinking mind, and you can't think your way out of trauma. You can't think your way out of narcissistic abuse. No matter how much you learn about it, how much does it help you break free? You have to come into alignment with the fullness of who you are, the fullness of your being. Use the resources actually available to you, including your intuition, including your manifestation powers, including your alignment with your truth and your desires. And that starts putting you on a completely different trajectory for your life, right? So I don't want that to sound complicated. Just take it in bite-sized steps. It's not complicated, it's just misunderstood. So like I'm saying, it's like we're using the wrong tools to treat the symptoms of the thing. We've got to understand the root cause. Someone wrote that earlier, like, when you understand the root cause, everything gets clearer. That's what I'm doing here with you. You understand the root cause first. That consciousness alone starts healing you. And then you use the right tools to address the right sort of symptoms or after effects of that abuse. And all of that together in combination strengthens the energetic field. All right, my loves, I hope that makes sense. Lots of love. I'll speak to you soon.